Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy, Sports and Fitness Rants? I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. Ladies and gentlemen, on my channel, I'm always telling you guys, live an active lifestyle. Make smart nutritional choices, right? Move more, sit less. Fight against the laziness. It's not about perfection, but about consistency. It's not about what you look like, but about how you feel, guys. Remember, chase the feeling. And I've told you guys many times to not just listen to people in the gym just because they look big. You know, how many times do we see people listening to other people just because they look the part, right? So a lot of times, a lot of us go to the gyms, and I've told you guys in this channel, haven't gone to a gym since COVID closed down my gym, right? Closed down. I haven't gone to an actual physical gym since COVID. So now I do workouts in my garage, on my driveway, in the block. You guys know that. You've seen my videos. So you don't have to go to a gym. I've told you this. But a good gym is really good, guys. I'm telling you, you can find a good gym with a good community, a good atmosphere, good equipment. They maintain the equipment. It's clean in there. Like I said, man, you have a good clientele in there, a good atmosphere, man. Then a good gym, guys, like I said, man, is something that's really special. It's almost like finding a really good tattoo artist. You find a really good tattoo artist, then you got to hold on to them. Like a barber. You find a really good barber, you got to hold on to these things. So a really good gym is valuable, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that. It really is. It could be a really valuable thing. But sometimes when people go to the gym, they look at other people, right? I've told you guys, don't really compare yourself to others, but it's a human thing. We get that. People look at other people for inspiration, for motivation, and sometimes they look at other people for advice, right? Training advice, training tips, hey, what do you do, man? What are you doing, right? Don't always go to the people who look big, the quote unquote big guys, right? Because I've told you guys about a lot of this stuff. A lot of these people are just exercising for the look. They're not exercising for the actual fitness aspect, right? They may even be eating healthy. You don't know what kind of chemicals people or supplements people are using, right? Also, people have different genetics. So it might be easy for someone to, look big, so to speak, or to gain muscle and maybe to not gain that much fat, whereas it might be harder for you to do these things. So just because someone looks big doesn't necessarily mean that they have great advice or that their advice is going to work for you. Remember, a lot of times when I used to go to the gym, guys, people would approach me, but that was not because I was big. I'm not a big person. I weigh about 180 pounds. I'm about 5'9.5". So I'm not a big person. I'm probably, what you would consider an average person. Now, maybe I don't look average with my shirt off, or if I'm on the beach or something like that, and I don't look like the average person or whatever, but I'm not some big person that would stand out in a crowd of a gym of people. But what happened was people would come up to me because they saw the way that I was training. So it wasn't necessarily how I looked from the training, even though I looked like I was athletic, I could move well, I looked strong, I looked like I knew what I was doing. But it was the type of training that I was doing, the intensity at which I was exercising, that would have people often approaching me, asking me what I was training for. Right? I've told you guys about this in the past. People would come to me often in the gym. Hey, man, what are you training for? Are you training for something specific? Because of the intensity at which I train, the no-nonsense approach to my training. I wasn't there to lollygag or talk to people, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes, your friends are there, people, you're talking, you have a conversation. But sometimes I would try to avoid people because I knew that they would talk a hole in my head. And I wasn't there necessarily for that. It's not that I didn't want to talk to those people. I didn't like them. I just didn't have the time oftentimes to be in there for much longer than what I needed to do. And I was very serious, once again, about what I was there to do, guys, which was there to improve myself, to better myself, to push myself to be a little bit better every single day. So people notice these things about me, right? Over time, over the course of a week or over the course of a month, people have saw me in the gym doing these things, that they will come up to me and ask me about this stuff, ask me for advice, ask me for different kinds of exercises. Also, people saw me doing exercises that other people weren't really doing. So I told you guys, a lot of times when you go to a gym, you'll notice people doing the same exercise, everyone kind of training the same way. Like I said, doing the same workouts, the same stuff, man, right? So when you see someone doing something different, then it makes you want to approach them or watch them or see why they're doing this or how they're doing something, right? Because when people are different, it makes you notice. They stand out more. And a lot of the training that I was doing was a lot different than the conventional bro split workouts, right? The deadlifting and the bench pressing that you see a lot of people doing in there. I was doing different things like Olympic lifts, like clean and jerks and snatches, right? I was doing some CrossFit workouts. So I was mixing all kinds of different workouts into my routines. I wasn't just doing a set kind of workout. And I've told you guys to train to be better at life. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the gym, don't just look for advice from the people who are quote unquote big, the people who look like they know what they're doing. Because yes, they might know what they're doing, but they may not, ladies and gentlemen. Watch someone train. See what they're doing. See how they really work out. Do they spend a lot of time on their phone in between sets? Do they like to lollygag? Are they doing the same things over and over again? Do you see them doing the same workouts every single day, week after week, guys? All right? These are the kinds of things that you should be thinking about, that you should be noticing before you really want to get advice or, ask somebody, what they're doing, ladies and gentlemen, all right?